The US dollar.
The US dollar.
The US dollar.
I'm Scott Miller, and this is Defending the Dollar. Risk management is part of everyday life. When you put an umbrella in your bag, leave for work a few minutes early, or look both ways before crossing the street, you're identifying, evaluating, and mitigating risks to achieving your goals. Firms and nations manage risks too, and many view the dollar as increasingly risky. Using the dollar can expose them to U.S. financial sanctions. Some want to hedge against these risks by using other currencies, and they're quite vocal about it. From China to Brazil to even France, there are calls to reduce dependence on the almighty dollar. Is this the beginning of the end of dollar dominance? Not necessarily. Experts largely agree that the dollar will remain dominant for the near future. The dollar retains its primacy because of the unique scale, resilience, and openness of the American economy and its financial markets. No other economy matches this. The dollar also benefits from network effects. The more a currency is used, the more useful it becomes, and the more useful it becomes, the more it's used. This self-reinforcing cycle creates a major incumbency advantage for the dollar. And most importantly, there is no obvious alternative. The dollar doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be the least bad option. And other currencies have their own limitations and risks. Consider the Chinese renminbi, which seems like a natural alternative to the dollar. China is the world's top trader, and China continues to engage in economic relations with sanctioned nations like Russia and North Korea. But the renminbi has serious limitations. China's strong state control creates an unpredictable business environment. The state also limits the flow of renminbi into and out of its economy to control the currency's value, making the renminbi harder to use outside of China. And, unlike other large economies, China's central bank is not independent. Instead, it's controlled by China's political leaders. All that to say, strict state control makes the renminbi less efficient and less reliable as a medium of international exchange. What about the euro? The common European currency is an efficient medium of exchange powered by Europe's massive single market. The Eurozone also has open and well-developed financial markets, with generally transparent and stable regulations. Yet the euro also has risks. Eurozone member states share the same central bank, yet each member retains autonomy over its fiscal policy. This unified monetary policy, without a unified fiscal policy, can threaten the euro's stability, as seen during the European debt crisis.
And to maintain price stability in the euro area and to preserve the euro.
The euro also comes with its own sanctions risks. In the build-up to its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Russia swapped most of its dollars for euros, assuming Europe wouldn't impose strict financial sanctions. Well, Russia quickly learned that this assumption was wrong. The EU froze hundreds of billions of Russian assets stored in European financial institutions. Another alternative you may have heard of is cryptocurrency. In contrast to fiat currencies backed by governments, cryptocurrencies are decentralized, meaning they are not reliant on any centralized authority to maintain them. For some, this is the appeal of cryptocurrencies. They could offer users privacy and the ability to circumvent government sanctions and oversight. But it should be no surprise that cryptocurrencies come with their own risks and limitations. Traders prefer the dollar because of features like its large market size and stable price. Cryptocurrencies have yet to develop these traits. Few merchants accept cryptocurrency as a medium of exchange, and wildly fluctuating prices undermine its utility as a unit of account and a store of value. And cryptocurrencies may be inherently limited by what experts call the blockchain trilemma, meaning that blockchains, the underlying technology behind many cryptocurrencies, cannot achieve optimal levels of decentralization, security, and scale at the same time. Increasing one usually weakens another. For instance, while payment systems like Visa can process tens of thousands of transactions per second, Bitcoin can only process about 7. This makes crypto impractical for day-to-day use. But to increase transaction speed, the network would need to become more centralized, undermining its key source of appeal in the first place. Some ideas to mitigate the blockchain trilemma have been proposed, but there isn't a silver bullet solution. Until this is resolved, cryptocurrencies are unlikely to replace the dollar. All in all, it seems the concerns about the impending end of dollar dominance are overblown, but it would be unwise to dismiss these worries entirely. While dollar dominance will likely continue in the near term, the long term is much harder to predict. We live in a time of disruptive geopolitical, economic, and technological change, and there are emerging forces today that may threaten the dollar's primacy over the next several decades. In our next episode, we'll dive into these long-term threats to dollar dominance. Subscribe to CSIS and stay tuned for our next episode.